Hey everybody, good morning. So, first time going live on here, but hey, I like it because it's a little easier than doing the video, uploading, all that fun stuff. But let me get to the point. In anything in business, work, whatever, they say time is money, right? That moolah, that green. Hmm. How much time are you spending on the clock? How much time for this? Charging by the hour, right? All those sort of things, all those kind of concepts. So let me share with you this. If time is money, right? Money can be used for investments. Then now the next question is how much have you invested in yourself? Have you taken the time to learn what you need to learn to properly understand your business? And I know from experience, this applies to all businesses, right? I'm in the lawn care industry, so there's certain math that I need to know for my business. And to be perfectly honest, for a long time, I didn't know it. I didn't take time to learn it. And so I was not investing in myself, in my own business to become more profitable. Let me give you an example. It took me way too long to start understanding the concept and applying cost per thousand. What is that? Cost per thousand square feet. How much material am I putting it down? And what method? And how much does it cost? Currently, I have gotten a better understanding of that number. Is it exactly zeroed in? No, but I know much closer because up until recently, to be perfectly honest with you, I was guessing, right? I don't even think I was guessing, right? If I brought in more money to pay my bills than what I couldn't pay was my standard for a long time of how well I was doing. And now that I understand things at a little bit higher level, I still got a lot to go. I look at that and I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa. You had no business doing all the stuff you were doing because I was working to work, staying busy to stay busy. And my only financial marker in my life and my business was, am I paying the bills and am I making more money than bills? But here's the other sad part, because I didn't take the time to invest in my understanding about business, finances, things that I needed to know on the back end of my business, not just spraying fertilizer and spreading soil, right? That is the very low end of what I need to know. I can pick up a rake, I can spread soil. Wow, dude, that is so low tier. Critical, definitely important, yes, but in terms of being the business owner I want to be, bottom of the totem pole. So I've taken the time to learn how to even start beginning to build a spreadsheet, do calculations, and basically applying a lot of math to my business. You know how people use that term, the math ain't mathin'? And the more I learn about this, the more I realize because people ain't mathing at all, right? They're just going. We're just going. We're just working. We're just doing this thing that we call business ownership or work or employment or life, whatever, however you want to swing it, and not taking the time to sit down like I'm sitting down right now for a few minutes to share this experience with you so that hopefully you see it, you take a look, and you're like, what do I need to start adding up in my life to see if it makes a difference? Because I'm a very small business in terms of things out there. Okay. Last year, we grossed $146,000. To some, they might say, hey, that's great. To many others, they're like, man, you barely getting started. And I'm like, 17 years later, I'm barely getting started. It's embarrassing. So I hope that wherever you're at in your timeline, right, that you are A, either much further now than I am, or B, you learn this much faster than I did. And if you're in the same place, 17, 18 years in the industry, or doing whatever you're doing, that's okay too, because there's the time called right now that you can learn these things. So start taking the time, because if time is money, the time that you take to sit down and do something is very valuable. It's an investment in your future. Add up your costs, figure out your numbers, right? Start to understand this thing called margins. And you will look at things from a different view, from a different lens. Um, and I just want to share this because I do talk to lots of people, mostly in my lawn and landscape industry, but even across the board. And they tell me all the time they either don't know answers to simple questions. Ask one buddy of mine, hey man, what was your revenue with one of your businesses you got going on last month? I don't know. Let's just be clear. That's an unacceptable answer, right? Your revenue is the most simple number to know in a business, in my opinion. You might feel different. If you do, let me know. I'm cool with that. But in my opinion, your revenue is like the number one number you should be able to be like, boom, I did this much in sales last month. Now I'll break it down. Okay, what was your actual profit? How much did you make? And let's be real, right? Small business owners kind of always talk to each other with two things that we say. Are you staying busy? And or how are sales? How are things, right? Very basic, very broad. And I'm starting to think now that I'm learning a little bit more. Of course, we don't want to get too personal with people, but I'm like, how are sales? How's your profit? Are you really making money? Because I heard, I believe it's a book like Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. He has a whole series of books. I really think they're great. They will give you at least a base understanding of things to look at. Um, but he said, if you are not making money and a profit and you don't know a lot of these really serious pieces of information about your business, you don't have a business. You have a very expensive hobby. And the more I've meditated on that thought, I'm like, whoa, I had a hobby for a long time. Let me stick to my car speakers and stereo stuff as my hobby because that brings way more enjoyment than having a business that I don't actually treat as a business. I treat it as a hobby because I don't know a lot of the numbers I should know. And don't tell me that you can't do it, you don't have time, or whatever, because a lot of the things I've learned that I've been able to apply to my business and start seeing a difference and grow a much greater understanding of what I'm doing and what I need to do seriously took me about 20 minutes at a time to learn. Sometimes I've had the time to dig in for a couple hours. But if you're like many of us, having a small business and struggling, I guarantee you go through times that you're slow. And when you are slow, the most valuable thing that you have is your time. And you need to be investing that time into learning the back end of your business. Do you have a way to communicate with customers? Do you have a way to organize your schedule? Do you have an easy way to take money to get paid from customers? I find that some people don't even have that set up. Oh, well, I just don't want to track my stuff, man. I get paid cash. Bro, get out of here. We ain't even, we're not having a conversation together. Or people don't want to pay with a credit card. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, who doesn't use Amazon? Mm-hmm. Okay. Who doesn't use those Grubhub type things these days or have a Netflix account? Everybody uses a friggin' credit or debit card. And I know too many people that haven't even taken the 20, 30 minutes to understand how to use those systems, right? So I share this because as a person who has struggled for 17 plus years, I realize now that my back is hurting. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm like, I don't want to be the guy doing the work when I'm 40. I don't want to be the guy having to do every dang thing in my business in the next 5 years. And as I really start to undo this and dig into it and learn about it, it's honestly starting to look a lot easier. But it's taking time and discipline and asking better questions. So I share this only because I know my struggles and how long I've had them and how much, and not, don't only impact me, it's impacted everybody in my entire life, right? So I hope that when you see this, you're like, okay, maybe I should spend the 20 minutes to learn the things that will help me be more profitable and successful moving forward this year and for the rest of your life. Thank you guys. I'm AJ. This is On Your Way to Failure. Because if you're not willing to fail, you won't succeed. But quit burning yourself out because that is not success. That's just a never ending trap. Peace.